You owe your entire personality to the stereotype of a black woman.
What is going on, you guys, and welcome back again on the channel. How are you doing today? I hope you guys are doing fine, and if you're joining for the very first time, hi, thank you so much for tuning in. And please, there is a backup page. The link is going to be in the description and as well in the comment section. In today's video, we are going to be checking out a video this white man made. I made a video about him as well last week where he was telling a lady that she had no audacity to tell people to stop going to Hawaii because of the things that is going on there. In today's video, he responded to a tweet that said, "It is always pay your debt until the reparation comes up." This particular tweet from the video he made, I think, got this white guy pissed, and this is what he has to say about this tweet that has been going viral.
It's always pay your debts until the topic of reparations comes up. Have we reached such a privileged point in our society that we have to look into history in order to find things to fix rather than fixing problems that are right in front of us? The reason nobody talks about the debts of reparations is because the people who owe the debts are not alive. Now, y'all don't want to say it, but I'll say it because whatever. I'm white, right? But guess what? I don't owe you anything. I never owned anyone. I don't owe you anything. And nobody will say it, but I don't. Nobody is responsible for the crimes of their ancestors. If that's the case, then every single one of us would owe every single one of us something, because throughout history, every single person, regardless of skin color, has been owned. So what point of history are we going to be focusing on? The last 100 years, or the last 200, or 300, or 400? Or maybe we can focus on the future and focus on creating a future where skin color doesn't matter. And I already know I'm going to get called the R word that ends in cis. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about, because I'm the one that's going to say I don't owe reparations. But the truth is, the people who think you still need reparations today are the people you should be looking at. They actually think you can't succeed based off of your own merit and that you need help from everybody else in order to succeed in this country. And isn't it ironic that the people who are saying this are the ones who are the most successful in our country? The ones who are saying that you need reparations to succeed when they didn't need them? Shouldn't they be a prime example that success is possible? No. It's because they don't believe that you're as capable as they are. If we want skin color to not have any merit on how much you can contribute to society, then we have to stop putting so much emphasis on it.
This video is very funny in so many ways. Tell me the very first thing you guys notice in that video. It is how he is talking about the fact that black people do not need reparation while still acting in full mannerism of black women. Like, you said you do not need to pay black people reparation, you don't owe them, but your whole entire personality is of a black woman. Like, it's not making sense. A lot of things are very, very funny in this video because he's coming from a place like maybe black people came to him and tell him, "Oh, you are gone to your head, let's go to the bank and give us money." Nobody's asking him to give them money. A lot of times when reparation conversation comes up, they think that black people are expecting them or average white person to come and pay them money. I think from the video he made, we all can agree that that is where it's coming from. The whole mannerism in that video is the funniest of it all. One thing I have noticed is whenever this conversation of paying reparation to black people comes up, it's always an issue. Other people got reparations. Why was that never an issue? Why does it have to be a problem when it's about black people? Because this is a trend that I think I have noticed a lot. And since he does not have a full understanding of what reparation means, and he has the full chest to come online, full mannerism of a black woman, and talk about black people do not deserve this, I don't owe you this. A lot of people are stitching to his video. I love this first stitch, and I don't want you guys to go anywhere because trust JJ to eat them up every single time.
It's always pay your debts until the topic of reparations comes up. I'm white, right? But guess what? I don't owe you anything.
Do me a favor, can y'all both stop acting as though you actually give a shit, like about anything at all, especially black issues? Let's illustrate why you don't care from the beginning.
Have we reached such a privileged point in our society that we have to look into history in order to find things to fix rather than fixing problems that are right in front of us?
What the fuck does this even mean? You're saying that we as a society must be privileged because we're looking to fix things in the past instead of things that are right in front of us, because you don't understand the concept of time or something? Black people as a demographic, let me say that again, as a demographic, are where they are today due to shit that happened in the past. Gay marriage had to be affirmed by the Supreme Court in 2015 due to things that happened to gay people in the past. Reparations, or addressing what happened to the black community on behalf of the United States government and why they're in the positions they are today and fixing those positions, is addressing something that is right in front of us. Unless you just propose that black people sit and enjoy their disproportionately fucked positions for all of eternity.
The reason nobody talks about the debts of reparations is because the people who owe the debts are not alive. But I'll say it because whatever. I'm white, right? But guess what? I don't owe you anything. I never owned anyone.
For me to assume that anything besides air was circulating up here when you said this is for me to be doing a disservice. And the fact that this is the exact moment in which he decided to clap means at maximum it could have been TV static. Because I know neither of you have actually looked at what reparations is, because you don't care. So you've just chosen to believe that reparations is when white people owe black people money for slavery. Even though if you were to Google something like Nina Turner on reparations, which is the person whose tweet you were fucking responding to, the first link would literally tell you reparations is not about cutting a check, it's about repairing a community. And in the article that Nina Turner literally contributed to, it says this. Read that, because white people can't just do that. It's almost as if we're talking about the United States government. So in other words, no one gives a fuck about you in particular when it comes to this issue. But if you can paint it that way, it makes it a lot easier to not support and just shut your ears off and not pay attention. And if he can frame it like that, it makes him look like the one intelligent, hardworking black person that doesn't need any handouts and is just gonna go get it on his own. Those two things are both profitable to you two when it comes to owning the left. But to real people who are still suffering from the issues that are downstream effects of the things that you guys scoff at, you two are distractions.
I already know I'm gonna get called the R word that ends in cis. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about, because I'm the one that's gonna say I don't owe reparations.
One, remember how I said this isn't about you in particular? Because newsflash, there's no reparations proposal on the table that's being considered that is just white people giving black people money. Again, you could have looked it up and found out that due to violent crime being concentrated in areas that lack community investment, simple things like rehabilitating vacant lots can significantly decrease violence within downtrodden, disproportionately black communities. An analysis of historically redlined areas found that even after adjusting for socio-demographic factors, the same places that were imagined to be areas untrustworthy of economic investment by virtue of the races, ethnicities, and religions of their residents were more likely to be places where violence and violent injury are most common a century later. So you want to know what we could do as a form of reparations? Rebuilding the physical environment in poorer communities. Pause to read. We could work to address income inequality within communities. Pause to read. Even before all that, we could find an actual definition of reparations that has been provided by scholars in order to help us move forward. And then we could find where multiple problems manifest themselves, including school finance, in order to inform us on how to move forward. And then we could hear out a scholarly proposal on how to move forward, what channels we would have to go through, what the program would look like, and what arguments could be made for the constitutionality of it if it were to go into effect. Because you have to actually analyze past problems in order to fucking move forward. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna post the link to this source right here to help you. And I'm going to make it clear to you something that all other scholars on this topic have acknowledged, that reparations would be funded through tax dollars, which everybody pays, but none of it matters because at the end of the day,
I don't owe you anything. And nobody will say it, but I don't. Nobody is responsible for the crimes of their ancestors. If that's the case, then every single one of us would owe every single one of us something, because throughout history, every single person, regardless of skin color, has been owned. They actually think you can't succeed based off of your own merit, and that you need help from everybody else in order to succeed in this country. And isn't it ironic that the people who are saying this are the ones who are the most successful in our country? The ones who are saying that you need reparations to succeed when they didn't need them? It's because they don't believe that you're as capable as they are.
Are you aware how you saying that in the face of everything I just went over says much more about you than me calling you racist ever would? We can skip the fact that the slavery of people who weren't even considered white, I wonder why, has literally nothing to do with the relationship between black and white people in the United States. We can skip the fact that not only is meritocracy a myth, you framing the government correcting course for fucking over people as they're assuming that you can't succeed on merit, again, says a lot more about you than me calling you racist ever would. We can skip you gaslighting by trying to suggest that successful black people who think that we need reparations just believe that you're not as capable as them because they didn't need it. Fails to recognize that both Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King Jr., and Thurgood Marshall were all successful men in their time period, none of whom received reparations, which means that by your logic, due to there being successful black people in every era of black history, there has never been a need for reparations, which is not only dumb on its face, it contradicts your own point about how we don't talk about it because all the people who owe the debts are dead. What debts? There were successful black people back then too. We can skip it all because you've never looked at an actual reparations proposal. We can skip it all because your ignorance on this topic stems from the fact that you feel like reparations is just, well, white people owe black people stuff, when it's never that simple and would never be implemented that way.
If we want skin color to not have any merit on how much you can contribute to society, then we have to stop putting so much emphasis on it.
And herein lies the crux of everything. Because you getting outraged that you as a white person may be held liable and need to owe people something for something that you didn't do, despite the fact that no reparations proposal that are easily Googleable say that or would do that. And while you're outraged, you're simultaneously telling people not to put an emphasis on race anymore, when again, a government helping out a demographic of people that it's fucked over would have no negative racial implications unless you made it, shows exactly why you're not serious. Shows why people who say meritocracy, let's just move along, are as dumb as the open white supremacists. Fuck out of here, bro.
Nobody will say it, but I don't. Nobody is responsible for
Man, imagine sitting there using a bunch of gestures and mannerisms that black people have made popular throughout our history in the United States. So trying to align yourself with black culture and the things that you're doing, whilst also trying to dissociate yourself from the things that your ancestors have done to black people. That's fucking crazy. But you know what? Let's talk about the concept of not being responsible for your parents, grandparents, or ancestors' actions. Because that concept only comes up when we talk about paying reparations to black people. Nobody ever says, oh, well, the baby boomers wasn't responsible for World War II, so why were they responsible for their tax dollars having to go towards rebuilding Europe via the Marshall Plan? Nobody ever says that the generation of post-World War II babies was responsible for the internment of Japanese Americans, so why are their tax dollars going to paying the reparations of Japanese Americans? Huh? Why do you only bring this up when you talk about black people? Let's talk about it. Like, bro, even former fucking slave owners got reparations. One thing that I also want to introduce in this conversation is how white Americans love to use collective terms of ownership when they're talking about something positive that's happening in United States history. Like, oh, we won our independence from Britain. We defeated the Soviets in the space race. We defeated the Nazis in World War II and the Japanese in World War II. But anytime there's something bad, now you want to dissociate. That wasn't we, that was somebody else. Oh, that wasn't we that enslaved black people. Those were other people. See how that works? Kind of crazy, ain't it, huh? Now, Jeff, let's get to you.
Black American and you're living in America and you're focused on giving black people reparations, you've missed it. The boat is gone and you've missed it. All the opportunities there. We do not need reparation. Well, we're owed it, the 50 acres and a mule. What you're talking about is Field Order 15 by General Sherman during the Civil War. And that was in like the southeast part of the country. A bunch of people want to talk about this as if, for one, the government actually did it, meaning Congress. No, it was
So yes, it was a wartime order that was issued by General Sherman that said, yes, we're going to give these people in the low-lying areas of Georgia and South Carolina 40 acres and a mule. And since you're so worried about it not being an act of Congress that declared that, and it was just General Sherman, there were still levels of power at that time that could have been exercised to say, actually, we're not going to allow that. How come those levels of power weren't exercised? Oh, wait, they were. It was the racist. It was the man Andrew Johnson who said, actually, no, we're not going to give black people these lands. We're going to give them back to the Confederates. All right, now, what else came out this mouth of yours?
The government does not owe us, and white people do not owe us. The government does.
They actually owe us every fucking thing and then some, Jeffrey, because the entire United States was built off and predicated on slave labor. It was predicated on that. Did you forget that? And honestly, if it was up to the Confederates, the Confederacy would have been built on the back of slave labor too. And if you don't believe me, just go and read the cornerstone speech that was given by then Vice President of the Confederacy, who said that the cornerstone of this new government was the subjugation and slavery of the Negro and how he's inferior to the white man. Jeffrey, just go and fucking read for once. It's not that hard. Because how can you possibly say that a group of people that was subjugated and forced to work for free for centuries and then were not allowed to participate in the electoral process, to go to school, to get the same resources as white people, to just have basic human rights are not owed reparations? How does that make sense? This is what we mean by you want to be white. And at this stage, just paint your fucking face. Now have the day that you deserve.
always pay your debts until the topic of reparations comes up.
You know, it will never cease to amaze me how a white man will get on the internet and tell black people what they don't deserve, all while cosplaying the stereotype of a black woman. See, Clarkson, your entire personality you owe to a black woman. The neck popping, the finger pointing, all of it, boo, you stole from a black woman. So while you and the racist ass maggots in your comment section that agree with you seem to believe that you don't owe us anything because the people that committed slavery are dead, how about you start with giving us back our personality? We'll take everything else later. Be a blessing.
What are your thoughts about what they all said? I love these three stitches so much, and thank you to everyone who contributed to that video. JJ heads him up, the other guy heads him up, the other woman heads him up. Let me hear what you guys think in the comment section. Let me just talk about the fact that there were so many white people in the comment section agreeing to what this white man said, which kind of like, you know, prove a point that they all think that this reparation thing is basically removing money from their account and giving money to Black people, because if they can agree to what he said, they are all on the same thought line. Let me hear your thoughts, because it's funny that all other demographic got reparation, and when it comes to Black people, it suddenly becomes an issue. There is a reason why they will always say, if you have a problem, you deal with it from the root. If you say that your ancestors were the one who owe Black people reparation and you do not owe them anything, I hope you're so aware that your ancestors as well have put in place some things that you benefit from today that other demographics do not benefit from. And why can't you say it's in the past? They did it in the past, then there's no need for us to benefit from it. The hypocrisy in his video is smelling. And the fact that he was moving his head and hand, doing as if it was a Black woman that was talking, while still saying that I don't owe you anything, but you were stealing an entire personality from them. It's very, very funny. It's just another entitled person who thinks that Black people wants to get the reparation from his pocket. He was saying it as if all of the things that Black people go through do not exist today. Racism still exists, slavery still exists, but we know that it has been rebranded. This video only tells us how loud and ignorant he is. One thing I have noticed is when they make videos like this, they know the people are going to stitch. They want the attention. They are using the attention to grow their accounts. They are even still benefiting off of Black people. You're still benefiting off of the Black people you know are going to stitch your video. You come online and say, I don't owe you anything. If you feel like the personality you're showing on social media is your personality, oh, by now you've seen so many comments in the comment section telling you that you owe it to Black women. So I was able to get some comments as well, and I want us to go through a few of the comments that I got from his video. This person said, a therapist will evaluate your childhood before he asks you about anything current. So yes, the history of a person or people is very important. Another person said, imagine being owed something and then the person in debt just waits a few years and then bam, debt is gone. Is that how you think it works? And this account seems like a white person's account. If it is actually a white person, I'm glad that this person used this analogy because it's just being loud and ignorant, like I said. Another person said, using AAVE and Black woman mannerism in a video arguing about reparation for Black Americans is wild. And that was the reason why I asked, what was the very first thing you guys noticed about his video? Because it was so obvious that he was imitating Black women. Another one said, yeah, you are as intelligent as you think. Your whole segment is invalid because you think reparations is average white people giving Black people money. And this is the reason why I said a lot of people agreeing to him just think that they have to pay money to Black people. That is like their own thoughts. That is their thought process. And it shows because they are agreeing to him. I would like to hear what you guys think in the comment section because I am going to stop here, but let's continue this conversation in the comment section. Thank you all so much for being part of this video. If you have not subscribed, please do so before you go and turn your bell notification on as well. And I am going to talk to you guys in the next one. Bye, and I love you guys.